1, 2, 3. Get up, we got victory. No weapon they throw at me, you know it won't prosper. No.
Yeah, just got laid off.
I'm doing good.
House ain't even paid off.
I'm doing good.
Should be afraid, but
I'm feeling good.
all the time you say.
God is
Hey
good.
BTV, I am so excited you're here joining me and the beautiful Leanne Stocks to talk about your financial journey for this upcoming year. So I'm going to let her tell you the majority of her own background story because I couldn't even try to tell you everything about it. But she has such good tips and tricks, and she's been in a place where debt was just kind of overwhelming for them, and they've learned how to get out of that and have taught me and Cody as newlyweds how to manage our money so we don't get into that. And there's just so much good facts, tips, and truths that are going to come through this video. So I'm so excited to have her here. And her husband, TJ, actually partners with her and does a lot of the debt-free journey stuff. But I mean, this is girl talk.
Girl talk, yeah.
We had to kick the boys out for just a little bit. So, but I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself and kind of give you some background as to how her debt-free journey got started.
All right, I'm Leanne. Kristen is my favorite cousin, by the way.
Can you tell?
So a little bit about us. So I heard about Dave Ramsey, I say like 2008. I was actually going through a divorce back then. And so that's kind of like when I was like trying to figure out my finances by myself. I didn't get started with Dave Ramsey because life got crazy, right? Fast forward, TJ and I met. Our third date, he opened up to me about all of his debt, which is kind of overwhelming on
the
third date. Yeah.
Ooh. All right. But he was a keeper lady, so it's not a complete red flag.
So I was like, okay, debt is normal, right?
Yeah.
So I really didn't think anything of it. Of course, I had Dave Ramsey in the back of my head, but I didn't have like the knowledge or how to get out of debt. Fast forward, we got engaged, got married. Finances were a mess. We were young, didn't make a lot of money. I was in school full-time, working part-time, and TJ was still, in his career trying to work his way up. And we just had debt just kept on piling up. We'd have car repairs, and how do we pay for car repairs? We'd try to find a little bit of cash in the checking.
A little bit of credit cards.
The credit card that was maxed out that we paid $200. So we had $200 here, and we found a third credit card. And it was a mess, and it was stressful, and it's not the way we wanted to continue our life and our marriage.
Yes.
Fun fact, our checking account would go $300, $400 into the negative almost every month, and then we'd have the fees on top of that. And it was just like, what was our problem? What was our disconnect? And we learned we weren't communicating about finances.
Communication.
Yeah.
We're going to get Cody to put it right down here. Communication.
And teamwork. Like, he
Yeah.
grew up one way thinking and having a relationship with money, and TJ, and then I had a different relationship with money. So it's just like, why did we never talk about it? We talked about debt. We talked about how much debt he had. But I heard about Dave Ramsey, and fast forward to about 4 years and 3 years into our marriage, I asked TJ, I said, can we do the Dave Ramsey plan? Because I know that he went through Financial Peace University, which is a class Dave Ramsey offers. He did it. He got out of debt by himself before he and I met, but he went back into debt, of course, right? And so he and I tried it for 1 month, and it failed. For a whole year, I remained quiet, and I was like, listen, I came back to him, and I was like, these are the numbers. We are way more in debt than we were last year. Do we want to be 50 years old with all this debt? And he's like, fine, I'll give you 3 months. I said, 3 months? No problem.
Hey, 3 seems to be the magic number here. Third date, 3 months. Okay, all right.
But the thing that I had to personally learn, and TJ had to learn, was compromise. In the relationship, in the marriage. What did he value in his finances? How can I cater to his needs? He likes to spend money, which is perfectly okay, but we had to find a way to put it in the budget, right?
You have to tone it down just
And then I will say my dad gave me a piece of advice that I think helped me, helped TJ, and helped our relationship with money as a married couple, right? My dad told me, it's not TJ's debt anymore.
Right.
It's your debt.
Yeah.
And TJ's debt, because you're one.
And I want to say that's a really, really good point right there too, because, when Cody and I first got married, it's hard, especially if you have been saving and you've done all these personal things for yourself. And then like for me, I had been paying off my college. And so with Cody and I, we had to learn that communication, that teamwork. It was like, okay, it's not just Kristen paying college anymore. It's Cody and Kristen. Because when you get married, you are to become one. And it's really teaching you how to be unselfish and work with people. And that is such good advice. I love that. It's perfect.
And I had debt too. Don't worry, I had some debt. But TJ, he was a homeowner at that point. And I tell people we got scared out of debt.
Yeah.
We had an association fee that just got out of control, and we were paying years back on the minimum debt. And we're like, how are we ever going to get rid of this debt on top of our other debt? And all our other credit cards are maxed out.
Right.
We didn't have a savings.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like our why. And I feel like people need to find like their why. What will motivate you to get your finances in order? Because it's scary. We were stressed.
Yeah.
And that's not the way we wanted to live.
No. Mm-mm. Absolutely. I love it. Okay, so she's told you a little bit about her background. And so here's the next question. Okay, so that all sounds great, Leanne. You know, y'all got out of debt, woohoo. But what am I supposed to do? Because I know for me, when I hear the name Dave Ramsey, that name itself overwhelms me because I know there's like huge sacrifices that go into it, but I didn't understand the fullness of the plan. So for me, when Cody and I were getting started, Leanne had posted so much stuff on her Instagram about becoming debt free and how they're paying things off. And Cody and I are like, well, Matt, we don't even know where our money's going to right now. We're in month number 2 of marriage and hadn't quite got our hands on it. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me reach out to Leanne and TJ. I was like, are you okay with that? Always check with your spouse, or even if you're single, I mean, you know, it's up to you. But if you're in partnership with somebody, check with them first because you don't want to feel like you're putting anybody on the spot. And Cody's like, you know what? Why not? Let's do it. And so when we talked with them, they kind of took the Dave Ramsey plan, I feel like, and just shortened it for us and made it simple, step by step to follow. So I'm going to have her kind of explain the few things that you can start doing now to help with your journey.
Okay. Also want to share with you guys, we didn't have just $10,000 of debt or even $20,000 of debt. We paid off $110,000 of debt in 45 months working this plan that I'm about to share with you in the steps.
I mean, this is tried and tested. This is not, it's not fluffy stuff. This is it.
It was hard work. It was sacrifice, but I will tell you it was well worth it. Number 1, find your why. Why are you motivated to get your finances in order to become debt free? I would say if you don't have a savings already, make sure you have a $1,000 emergency fund. People are like, oh, that's not enough money. But if you don't have any savings, that's better than nothing, right?
Right. Yeah. And then also too, one thing they had pointed out to us is if you have an astronomical amount in your savings, but you have an astronomical amount of debt, you know, that savings is kind of just sitting there. And then it gets into the whole, you know, gotta pay, and you're never caught up.
Yeah. Use your resources that you already have. Dwindle it down if you have more than $1,000 of emergency savings, because it's going to help you reach your goal faster. And then we'll talk about other steps later. But then I would say, know your income. We didn't know how much money we made. You'll be surprised how many people don't know to the penny how much they make.
It really makes you feel like a kid when you have to go ask your parents, how am I supposed to know this?
Yeah.
Well, look
It's
at your pay stub. Adulting. Okay.
And then I would say create a zero-based budget. So that means you give every dollar and every penny a name, which means you know how much your mortgage is or your rent is, you know how much your debt is, you know how much your savings is going to be for the month, your grocery bills. I will be honest, we overspend on food and we would waste so much food because we would let our food go bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are we doing this to ourselves? We already don't have enough money, and then we're just wasting money because we're just not being intentional with our food, right? And our grocery budget. And then I would say create a plan. You have to know how much debt you have too. So you have to know how much income you have, which is I call the shovel, to like help yourself get out of debt. But then know how much debt you have and know the minimum payments. And then you're going to list those in order from the smallest minimum payment to the largest minimum payment. And that is going to be what we call the debt snowball. And then you're going to start working on that after you have your $1,000 emergency fund.
Yes, and we're gonna put these steps on a slide at the end of this video. I'm gonna get Cody to do it. Cody is my right hand man in case none of y'all knew that out there. He is my husband, he's my best friend, and he is my tech guru over there. But he is gonna break down these steps that she just said, because I know it's a lot to take in, and put it on the slide so that you can screenshot it, you can save it, you can come back and look at it. But also too, with these steps, if you're looking at it and anything that you hear today and you're like, oh, that actually sounds pretty decent, like maybe I can do it. Leanne and her husband TJ are willing to help you with anything that you need, any questions. They actually have a spreadsheet where they will put in all of your numbers for you once you know how much your rent is or how much your house payment is, how much your car payment is, all that, electricity. They will plug in those numbers for you so you can actually physically see, hey, this is what we're spending, and this is what we have left. Now, what can we do with what we have left? Does it go towards debt, or does it go towards something that you're wanting and you're wanting to work towards? And also, too, they're so good about not being nosy and in your business. Because when it comes to money, you don't want somebody who's going to try to push you into a direction that you or your spouse or partner, whatever, does not want to go. So keep that in mind too. That is one of the reasons why I felt like I could talk to them. She was family first off, but then outside of that, it was good to have somebody not in our immediate families, just so that way the way I grew up versus the way Cody grew up, that didn't get involved. It was like an outside perspective. And they were very much from the beginning, all right, look, it's whatever y'all want to do. Just give us your numbers. We'll show you what you got, and then let's talk. And you're not obligated to do anything. But it's just helpful to see, here it is, there it is, boom. Now what you want to do? Let's set goals. So if you are interested in talking with Leanne and TJ, or just Leanne or just TJ, whatever, they are more than willing to help you out at no cost at all. I mean, the point is to get out of debt, right? So, and this is something, I guess she can tell you more about that too, but this is something that God has placed on their hearts that they are able to help others with, and I just think that is so great, and that's why I'm so excited that you're sitting here. So, but I'll quit talking now and let you keep
And
talking.
it's confidential, and we offer
Yeah.
Zoom. So if you are single or you just want to do one-on-one with me, we could do a Zoom call. That's perfectly fine, no cost. It's just my heart to help, because we were inspired and we were motivated, and so it's kind of like, well, why we share the Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Being transparent. It's kind of scary because I knew family was following me, and people we knew very close were
It's
following
intimidating.
us. And I was
everybody's
like,
watching.
I know, and it's scary, but it's something not talked about. And it's like, if we felt hope and we found a system that works for us,
Yeah.
why not share something good with other people,
Yes,
especially the
I
people
love
you
that.
love and care about, right?
Absolutely.
And then if you're married, like we've sat down with Kristen and Cody before and other couples, TJ and I, my husband, will sit down with you, and the guys can bounce off each other, the girls can bounce off each other. And
Yes. And
It's just
TJ's
really
very
great.
easy to get along with too. So.
Yeah. He's pretty funny too.
Yeah.
But like Kristen said, we kind of really just share our hearts. You are open to ask us anything about our struggles, our journey, anything like that. We're very transparent, and everything is confidential, like I said.
Yes. And I appreciate that so much.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm good. What else you got for us?
I
I'm loving
wanted to
this.
share a few verses because I don't believe it's talked about. I know I grew up in church a lot, and we talk about tithes.
Mhm.
But I wanted to share with you, it's very important for TJ and I to make sure that we were tithing and to continue to tithe. Because when you have debt or you're creating a new financial goal, you're like, oh, but I see this 10%. That's a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Maybe I could put it towards my debt
Yeah.
or my 1,000 emergency dollar fund that I'm trying to build, right? So 2 Corinthians 9:6-7, it talks about the cheerful giver. And it says, the point is this: whosoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whosoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And that has reminded me so many times.
Yeah.
Like when TJ and I are like, nope, it's not a negotiation.
Yeah.
We will tithe. If we felt
Yeah.
led to give to someone, we would sow into their life.
Right.
If we felt like we needed to sow into the church and give extra to missions or whatever,
Yeah.
that's what we did.
Yeah.
And always keep that in mind while you're going through this journey.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because God will bless whatever you do for others and whatever you do for Him. And I had a girl at church, a little girl at church. She's in middle school, And she just started coming to our youth group. And she asked me the question. She said, so who owns all of this stuff? I said, what do you mean who owns all this stuff? She said, like, who owns the church and the fellowship building? I said, well, I said, it's not really, I said, owned. I said, you know, my dad is the pastor and he kind of oversees. I said, just like at a school building or just like at restaurants and stores, there still has to be money being put in to keep things running. And you know, that 10% tithe, that is what helps our churches to stand. That's what helps our pastors to be able to do what they can do. And helps the churches to grow and to have the buildings and the things that they need. So, you know, some people don't know why people tithe or what it's for. But if you attend a church and you love going there, your tithing is what helps keep it running. And then also too, like she said, just being able to do for others. And when you feel like you're in debt, it's like you're being pulled two different ways. Mm-hmm. Like, I really want to help this person, but I don't feel like I can.
Right.
So just all that in mind, and also little is much when God is in it. My mom sings that song, little is much when God is in it. Whatever you can give, God's going to bless you for it.
Absolutely.
So,
yep. And then I also want to share kind of like the inspiration to get out of debt.
yes.
If you are familiar with Dave Ramsey, or if you're not at all, he talks about being gazelle intense while on your debt-free journey.
Mm-hmm. And gazelle is an animal.
Yes.
For those who don't know.
I wish maybe
When she first said, I was like, gazelle. Oh, it's an animal.
yeah, maybe we can find a clip and show you guys like the little video of a gazelle running.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Cody, I'll just put more on this.
I'll find it for Cody.
There you go.
But let me find that verse, because Dave Ramsey, backstory on Dave Ramsey, he lost it all, and he just had a new baby, and he was struggling. You know, his marriage was strained.
Yeah.
And he had read this verse several times, many times as he's read through the Bible, and then during his struggle, during his hardship, this particular verse jumped out at him, and God spoke to him, and he was like, a light bulb went off, and he was like, I get it now. Okay, thank you for showing me this.
I do. Love it.
So it's Proverbs 6, 1-7, and it says, if you sign surety, my son, do this. Give no sleep to your eyelids, no slumber to your eyes, and deliver yourself like the gazelle from the hand of the hunter, a bird from the hand of the fowler. So that's where he came up with gazelle intense. Running as fast as you can away from your debt, because the borrower is a slave to the lender. And we are called to be the head and not the tail.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I
right?
like that. We the heads.
Yeah.
Not the tails.
So it's kind of like how fast, like we kind of started challenging ourselves.
Yeah.
The further we got into debt, of course, it's like a struggle. It's
Yeah.
an adjustment. You're like, oh my gosh,
Looking
why
at
am
the
I
big
putting
picture
all
can be
this money,
overwhelming.
towards debt? I could just pay the monthly bill, right? And so we kind of like held on to that verse and gazelle intense and kind of just made that in the forefront of our minds and be like, okay, I have $10 extra. Maybe I could add that to my debt snowball. And you
Yes.
kind of start competing with yourself every month
Mm-hmm.
and running out of debt. And then you're like, oh my gosh, we were out of debt at an X amount of months, so we paid this much off. And it really becomes exciting, and you have more joy just being able to accomplish something and then lining your finances up biblically. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. And also too, for those of you who are the more spendy type, like TJ or like myself, because
Nothing
I
wrong
do
with that.
like no, I love to spend. But you know, since I've been doing this budget thing, I haven't been spending as much. But once you are out of debt, then you can plan for the things that you really, really want to do.
Right.
So one of the things Cody and I would love to do is maybe go to the Bahamas one day.
Yes.
And that's definitely going to take a little chunk of money, but to be able to know that we're going to be able to do it, enjoy it, and not have to feel bad about it when we get back, it's worth the sacrifices now to do that later.
Absolutely.
So,
And there is tons of sacrifice.
yeah.
Tons of hardship, and there's
Yeah.
some months you're like, why am I doing this again?
Right.
And I would encourage you to find a community. If you are friends with Kristen, lock arms with her, because she will keep you inspired and she'll keep you happy. We like to do no spend months. We like to do pantry challenges.
Ooh.
So a no spend month is kind of like we'll spend a whole month and I won't buy clothes. I know. TJ won't have any spend money, which hurts him because he's a spender. And we'll just take a month or even cut our spending in half. So if you get X amount of dollars for your spending money or my clothing money, we'll cut it in half. Not to be so gazelle intense, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to challenge ourselves. And what normally, if we have $50 extra or $300 extra, we'll take that, what we would normally spend for our fund money, and we'll put it towards our debt.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
just a little
so it
tip.
becomes a game.
It becomes a game. Make it fun.
Yeah.
But also, if you're married, if you're dating, create money for date days. That's
Yes.
also important.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
date your spouse. I've always heard
Yeah.
that. We make our grocery days our date days. So when we get off of work,
Oh yeah, you guys go to lunch.
yeah, when we get off of work, we'll supper. When we get off of work on Monday, we go and we pick up our groceries through the Walmart pickup, and then we eat food. That's our date. So we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up here. I just want to add one more thing. When Cody puts up the steps at the end of this video, one of the things that we both talked about, remember, it's not a set in stone plan. It's a baseline just to
Right.
help get you started. She mentioned the debt snowball, which is where once you pay off certain debts and the money you were spending, it goes towards something else. And there have been times when Cody and I could not put towards that debt snowball. I mean, we just couldn't.
We've been there.
Yeah, we didn't even plan for Christmas this year. We got married in May, and we're like, oh my goodness, we got to have Christmas money. So that debt snowball, it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
We ended up putting that money to go towards Christmas this year, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So remember, there's no perfect way. You got to do what works for you, and then whoever else is around you.
Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah, I got that. So to close out, I always like to end with a prayer. So Leanne, if you would just say a prayer, just over everybody dealing with their financial struggles, and that God will just guide them to do whatever they need to do. So
God, I thank you for this time. I thank you for your knowledge and your wisdom. God, I ask that you bring hope to the hopeless. I ask that anybody listening will be inspired and encouraged. And I ask that you allow us to move forward in our finances and be good stewards of our finances the way you intended. Amen.
Amen. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh.
This was so good.
I know, I love it.
And it's Christmas time for us. All my family is in Jacksonville, so Cody and I took a trip down here. So that's, if you see decorations, I don't know what you can see. That's why it's Christmassy. But when you see this video, it'll be New Year's. So
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.